In the middle of the night in England, 3 animal rights activists break into the Cambridge Primate Research Centre, where chimps undergo experiments with videos of human rage, violence, and destruction. While the activists start taking pictures, a scientist discovers them and hurries to summon security. They intercept him just in time and capture him. The scientist pleads with them not to take any action because the chimps carry a highly contagious and extremely dangerous virus called rage. However, the activists disregard his warning and release one of the chimps, which immediately attacks and bites a woman with unbridled fury before being killed by one of the others. As the other chimps become agitated in their cages, the woman starts vomiting blood on the floor and onto her friend's face. The scientist insists they should kill her, but it's too late. She transforms into a zombie and attacks everyone in the room. 28 days later, Jim awakens from a coma in an empty hospital. He exits the room and roams around in search of people, but encounters only chaos everywhere. After getting some drinks from a vending machine, he exits the building to explore London, discovering the city in a similar state, devoid of people but filled with destruction. Upon finding a newspaper, he learns that Britain has experienced a mass exodus, and on a massive bulletin board, he sees thousands of missing people signs. Eventually, Jim enters a church, where he discovers eerie messages on the walls. Upon entering the main room, he's appalled to find it filled with decomposing bodies. As he utters a tentative, "Hello," some figures suddenly stir, their expressions blank as they fixate on him. Just then, the priest emerges, only to reveal himself as a zombie, lunging at Jim, who defends himself with his bag full of cans. Despite the blow, the priest persists in pursuing him, prompting Jim to flee. As other zombies spill out of the church, Jim dashes to a nearby gas station. There, survivors Mark and Selena begin hurling Molotov bombs at the zombies, incinerating them. Once Jim joins them, they detonate a bomb at the gas station for safety. Subsequently, Mark and Selena led Jim to their hideout, an abandoned sweet shop in the London Underground. When Jim reveals his coma from a car crash, Selena elaborates on a highly contagious virus that escaped, plunging Britain into chaos with rampant zombie outbreaks and societal collapse. With most of the population deceased or infected, the army overwhelmed, and the government defunct, Jim insists on visiting his parents' home against Selena's grim warnings. Together, they navigate a desolate London and reach Jim's former residence the next morning. There, Jim confronts the heartbreaking reality of his parents' self-inflicted demise to evade zombification. They left a note urging him not to awaken. While Jim weeps, Selena and Mark express gratitude that his family passed away peacefully, contrasting their own painful ordeals witnessing their loved ones transform into monsters. Spending the night in the house, Jim remains unable to sleep, opting to watch old family videos. However, the light he activates inadvertently attracts attention, prompting 2 zombies to burst through the window and assail him. Amid Jim's struggle, his screams alert Mark and Selena, who swiftly intervene, dispatching both creatures with swift, decisive force. Selena checks Jim for any signs of bites or exposure to zombie blood, ensuring his safety. Regrettably, Mark is the one wounded, his arm stained with zombie blood. Without delay, Selena dispatches Mark with her machete, recognizing the imminent threat of more zombies. After cleaning up, changing a tire, and collecting supplies, Jim and Selena depart the premises. Selena emphasizes to Jim the necessity of swiftly eliminating any infected individuals, regardless of their relationship. Later, they notice flashing lights emanating from a nearby apartment and decide to investigate. The building appears dilapidated, with the lobby cluttered with trolleys, but they maneuver over them to access the stairs. As they ascend several floors, they pause for a break, hearing the telltale screeches of zombies that have infiltrated the building. Pressing on, Jim and Selena quicken their pace as the zombies pursue them. However, their progress is impeded when they encounter a man in protective gear, who provides them with the number and location of his apartment. The man remains behind to confront the zombies, using a shield to halt their advance while wielding a bat to fend them off. Jim and Selena reach the apartment, but the occupant inside refuses to open the door until the man returns safely. Once everyone is indoors, Frank and his daughter Hannah greet them warmly, introducing themselves to the duo. Frank expresses his relief that his signal has attracted some company to their well-lit apartment. The following day, Frank gives Jim a tour of the buckets on the roof, mentioning the prolonged absence of rain. Resources diminish daily, and they may not sustain their stay in the apartment much longer at this pace. Frank then presents Jim and Selina with a recurring military radio message, suggesting that soldiers provide protection to survivors outside Manchester and promise the solution to the infection. Frank expresses a desire to journey there, but Selina expresses doubt, suggesting it might be a ruse or an outdated broadcast. However, Hannah delivers a heartfelt speech, persuading everyone that the risk is worthwhile. The group loads Frank's taxi with supplies for their journey to Manchester. Passing through London, they witness the devastation and corpses littering the streets. Upon encountering a blocked tunnel filled with bodies and wrecked cars, Frank opts to navigate through it, pushing obstacles aside. Despite successfully traversing the obstruction, the car sustains a flat tire. While changing the tire, the group hears an eerie sound and witnesses a horde of rats racing towards them, signaling the approach of zombies. With no time for additional tools, the adults lift the car as Hannah swiftly changes the tire. Shadows of approaching zombies loom closer, leaping over the crashed vehicles, but the group completes the tire change just in time and speeds away. Continuing their journey for a few hours, they reach the countryside and halt at a burger shack to siphon gas from an abandoned truck. Intrigued, Jim enters the building and discovers a deceased family. Suddenly, he faces an attack from a zombie child and must defend himself to stay alive. As they continue traveling through the countryside, its enduring beauty captivates them. During dinner stop, they marvel at horses frolicking carefreely. Selina expresses pleasant surprise, even planting a kiss on Jim's cheek. That evening, they lodge in an ancient, dilapidated castle. Hannah and Jim, restless, seek Selina's secret to peaceful slumber, and she shares her remedy. Jim awakes alone, gripped by panic, until Frank reassures him, dispelling the illusion. The following day, they press on, witnessing Manchester aflame in the horizon. They reach the blockade mentioned in the message, but find deserted military trucks and equipment. Selina suggests leaving, but Frank persists in searching, refusing to concede defeat. Frustrated, he kicks a nearby wall to scare off a crow. Unbeknownst to him, the crow had been scavenging a zombie carcass, and a drop of blood from it fell into Frank's eye as it moved. Aware of his impending transformation, Frank professes his love to Hannah and urges her to keep her distance. Despite his warning, Hannah attempts to approach him, leading to a forceful push from Frank as the virus takes hold. As Frank begins to change, Selina instructs Jim to end his suffering while she restrains Hannah. Jim hesitates, reluctant to harm his friend, but their dilemma is resolved by the sudden arrival of soldiers who swiftly neutralize Frank. Subsequently, the soldiers escort Jim, Selina, and Hannah to a fortified mansion in the woods, where they've established a secure base to withstand zombie threats. Major West greets them warmly, offering food and the chance to freshen up with a shower. While Hannah rests, Selina experiences a moment of vulnerability, breaking down in front of Jim. Seeking solace, Jim leans in for a kiss, but Selina recoils upon realizing the situation and swiftly leaves the room. Jim approaches Major West to inquire about the answer to the infection mentioned in the radio broadcast. West clarifies that they lack a cure. Instead, he points to the heightened security measures and ample supplies as their response. Furthermore, West discloses that they've captured a zombie soldier, kept restrained in the mansion's courtyard for examination. Jim finds West's intentions cruel, but West asserts that understanding how to starve a zombie to death might hold the key they seek. Later, Jim's group dines with the soldiers, feeling unsettled by their brash, macho demeanor. West, adorned in his full uniform, berates the cook for an error and presumptuously assigns kitchen duties to Hannah. Abruptly, an alarm blares, prompting all soldiers to rush outside and defend the mansion from encroaching zombies. The men swiftly take their designated spots and unleash gunfire, decimating scores of zombies and triggering significant explosions with their weapons, effortlessly vanquishing their foes within minutes. Upon the soldiers' return indoors, Mitchell attempts to exploit Selina, prompting Jim to intervene. However, due to his training, Mitchell effortlessly subdues him, necessitating Sergeant Farrell's intervention to cease the altercation. In that instance, West intervenes, instructing everyone to clear the bodies before engaging in a private conversation with Jim. West recounts discovering a soldier named Jones on the brink of despair, ready to self-terminate due to the bleak prospects. In a bid to restore hope, West pledged to bring women for his men to repopulate with once the zombies perished, prompting the radio message. Horrified, Jim endeavors to flee with Hannah and Selena, but they are swiftly subdued and apprehended by the soldiers. Despite Farrell's efforts to intercede on their behalf, disagreeing with West's scheme, he too is captured. Jim and Farrell find themselves incarcerated together, with Farrell speculating that the infection likely hasn't spread beyond Britain, suggesting that the rest of the world might be unaffected and that Britain is isolated to contain the outbreak. This notion sparks hope in Jim. The following morning, Mitchell and Jones escort the prisoners to the forest for execution near a heap of corpses. Farrell confronts them for betraying their own sergeant, sparking a disagreement. Jones advocates for a swift shooting, while Mitchell prefers a slower, more gratifying stabbing. Jones fires in desperation, fatally wounding Farrell and injuring Mitchell in the arm. Amidst the chaos, Mitchell confronts Jones aggressively, allowing Jim to seize the opportunity to vanish. The soldiers quickly notice his absence and begin searching for him, unaware that Jim has cleverly disguised himself among the bodies in the pile. Seizing the moment, Jim evades capture by scaling the wall, leaving his shirt behind. The soldiers, believing he won't survive the zombies outside the compound, opt to let him go. As Jim flees into the forest, he stumbles and falls, prompting him to gaze upward. To his surprise, he spots a jet flying overhead, validating Farrell's theory that the rest of the world is indeed unaffected. Meanwhile, in the mansion, the soldiers insist on dressing Selena and Hannah in elegant attire to prepare them for a night intended for procreation. Selena resists their efforts, but her resistance proves futile. Changing tactics, she resorts to seducing a soldier, urging him to grant them privacy to change in peace. The soldiers acquiesce, leaving the room. Seizing the moment, Selena offers Hannah some medicine to ease the ordeal. However, their respite is short-lived as the sound of the alarm interrupts them once again. Jim deliberately triggers the alarm at the blockade. West and another soldier investigate, prompting Jim to stealthily attack and incapacitate the soldier. Discovering his comrade's absence, West searches and finds him dead in their jeep. In a panic, West fires indiscriminately before attempting to flee in the disabled vehicle, only to be confronted by a zombie. Dispatching the undead assailant, West emerges from the jeep to confront the approaching horde of zombies. After finishing his task, he hurries back to the mansion. Meanwhile, Jim also returns and, armed with the weapon he took from the jeep, he releases the chained zombie. The creature immediately lunges through the window, attacking the soldiers guarding the girls. While Selena seizes the opportunity to pull Hannah away, the zombie spews blood on a soldier and then pursues Jones. The infected soldier soon joins the ranks of the undead. Selena and Hannah attempt to flee the house, but they encounter Mitchell blocking their path. Suddenly, Jones dashes past with the zombie in pursuit, prompting Mitchell to dispatch a soldier after them while he attends to the girls. Jones finds refuge in the kitchen, and just as the zombie closes in on him, Mitchell's comrade arrives to shoot it. However, he falls victim to the new zombie, becoming infected himself. Jim observes the chaos from outside, while Jones, hidden in a cupboard, feels helpless. Once the zombies depart, Jones attempts to flee, but Jim intercepts and eliminates him immediately. Subsequently, Jim seeks sanctuary behind a concealed door to evade the zombies, who opt for the stairs instead. Hannah evades Mitchell and seeks refuge upstairs, discovering a photo of her father in her belongings. Hearing an approaching zombie, she conceals herself behind a mirror, eluding detection as the zombie is momentarily baffled by its own reflection. Meanwhile, Jim searches the mansion for the girls and encounters a soldier with an empty gun hiding in a room. Disregarding the soldier's pleas, Jim leaps out the window, leaving him to the mercy of the zombies. While traversing the roof, Jim spots Mitchell preparing to harm Selena and swiftly enters through the window. Mitchell seizes Selena as a hostage, yet Jim intervenes promptly, forcing Mitchell to release her before launching into a fierce attack. Mitchell barely resists before Jim forcefully slams his head against the wall and then hurls him to the ground, inflicting severe injuries. Witnessing the brutality, Selena, gripped by horror, nearly strikes Jim with her machete, mistaking him for a zombie. Her moment of hesitation enables Jim to demonstrate his well-being, leading to a reconciliation as they share a kiss. Abruptly, Hannah strikes Jim with a vase, also fearing he might be infected. Fortunately, Jim emerges unscathed, prompting the trio to hastily flee the premises. As they near Frank's taxi, they discover West occupying the vehicle. West, seeking retribution for his men, shoots Jim, prompting Hannah to swiftly reverse the taxi into the building. The once shackled zombie shatters the rear window, seizing West and exacting its own vengeance. Seizing the opportunity, Hannah speeds away, collecting Jim and Selena en route, as the zombie dispatches West. The mansion gates are closed, yet Hannah plows through them. Jim's recollection of the events that follow is hazy, but he recalls Selena administering CPR in a hospital, urging him to survive. 28 days later, the trio resides in a countryside cottage. Selena diligently sews numerous pieces of fabric. Upon hearing a passing plane, they dash outside with the fabric, unveiling giant letters spelling, "Hello." The aircraft spots their message and alters its course to rescue them. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.